Did you know about these 3 disturbing true end-of-summer horror stories? Don't watch these horror stories alone, especially the last one. This happened just last week, my last week at home before heading back to college, and I can't stop thinking about it. My parents had recently downsized into a new house, an older place with its quirks. One thing they made clear: no basement, just a crawl space for utilities. So when I started hearing tapping sounds beneath my bedroom floor, I froze. The first night I brushed it off. Pipes, maybe. The second night it was louder. The third night scraping, dragging, like claws raking wood. But there wasn't supposed to be anything down there. The next morning my dad told me to check the crawl space. Reluctantly I did. Nothing. No animals. No sign of anything. Noises continued. That's when I started searching the outside of the house. And behind a stack of old construction materials I found it. A storm door. Hidden. Painted over. Leading down into a basement. A basement my parents swore didn't exist. Against every instinct, I went down. And what I found, I'll never forget. Empty. Food containers. Scratch marks on the beams. And drawings. Disturbing, violent drawings of people and animals carved into the wood. Someone had been living down there. I bolted upstairs, called my parents, and locked the storm door with a heavy-duty padlock. I thought I was safe. Until that night, I woke up to banging. Violent, furious pounding against the storm door. Whoever had been living there was back, and they wanted in. The banging shook the walls, then stopped. I crept to the window and saw a figure sprinting across the yard into the darkness. The police searched. Nothing. My parents cut their trip short and came home. They promised me it was fine, but it didn't feel fine. Because those drawings, those tally marks, those sounds beneath the floor. I don't think this person was just squatting. I think they were planning something. And I left for college not knowing if they'll come back. So I'll ask you, if you found out someone had been secretly living in your basement and scratching strange markings into the walls, would you stay another night in that house? I grew up in a small town near the Montana-Idaho border, the kind of place where nothing much ever happens, and maybe that's why I never left. But one late summer morning, something happened that I'll never forget. It was the end of August. Of those mornings where you can already feel fall creeping in. I was on my way to work, cruising along a 2-lane highway that cuts through farmland and low hills, when I noticed a car pulled over on the shoulder. A light blue sedan, old model, just sitting there, angled slightly toward the ditch. No hazards on. No driver. No passengers. I slowed down, trying to see inside. Nothing. No one in the seats. No movement. Just a silent car on an empty road. Strange. Sure, but not alarming. People break down all the time and walk off for help. So I kept driving. By the time I clocked out of work, I'd completely forgotten about it, until the drive home. There it was again. Same car. Same spot. Only this time the driver's side door was hanging wide open. I swear, it hadn't been like that in the morning. I slowed down again, scanning the area. Still no one around. No footprints I could see. Just that door, open like someone had stepped out in a hurry and never came back. This time I pulled over as soon as I got a signal and called it in. Non-emergency line. Gave them the location. The operator thanked me and said someone would check. The next day, the car was gone. I figured that was the end of it. But a week later, the story hit the local news. Police were investigating a missing person. A vehicle found abandoned along a rural highway just outside town. The description? It was the same car I saw, the man who owned it. From out of town. Supposed to meet someone, never showed up. Authorities claimed there were no signs of foul play, no witnesses. But I knew better. I might have been the first and maybe the only person to report that car. And now the curiosity was eating at me. I called my brother Benjamin. He's a firefighter in a nearby town, and I knew his station sometimes got memos from the sheriff's office. Sure enough, he'd heard about it. Same story. Abandoned vehicle, missing man. He said the police were planning a search and I convinced him we should help. A couple days later, we joined a small team, some officers, a few off-duty firefighters, and me. We searched a patch of woods and irrigation ditches near where the car had been found. The kind of terrain you'd never notice from the road, but once you were inside, it was easy to disappear. After an hour, someone spotted something through the brush. We all converged and found it. A shack, half-sunken, overgrown, like it hadn't been touched in years. From the highway, you'd never know it existed. The lock was broken. The door hung open. Inside, darkness, dust, and trash. Empty water bottles, food wrappers, signs of someone living there recently. Then one of the firefighters called us over. At the back wall just above the floor was a hole. Small, clean, with sharp splintered edges. Not rot, not the weather, a bullet hole. The officers reported it in. Their voices sounded different, now serious. and tense. Then the lead officer turned to us and said they'd take it from here. He asked me, the civilian, to leave. Later that night, my brother admitted even the firefighters were asked to clear out. The police shut the whole thing down, and then silence. No follow-ups on the news. No updates from Benjamin's contacts. It was like the whole case had been buried. Weeks later, I went back on my own. I knew where the shack had been. I followed the same irrigation ditches, the same overgrown trail. Hours searching. Nothing. The shack was gone. Either my memory had betrayed me or someone had removed it completely, excavated it, hauled it away. Why? For a missing person case? To this day, I don't know. But every year, when the air shifts at the end of August, I think of that car, that bullet hole, that shack that might not even exist anymore. And I wonder, was I witnessing a simple disappearance? Or did I stumble onto something I was never supposed to see? I'm usually a heavy sleeper, especially when I'm camping after a long day of hiking. So when I suddenly woke up in the middle of the night, I knew something wasn't right. At first, everything sounded normal. Just the forest at night, chirping, the rustling, the usual background noise. I figured I'd step outside for a moment before trying to get back to sleep. I unzipped my tent, poked my head out and froze. In the moonlight, I saw a figure. Someone was standing in the clearing, maybe 15 feet from my tent. Perfectly still, silent, just watching. There was no possible explanation for a person to be out there. Not at that hour, not in the middle of nowhere. My mind raced, but my body wouldn't move. Whoever it was, they had heard me unzip the tent. They had to know I'd seen them. And in that moment, I was convinced I was seconds away from being attacked. The thought of life or death snapped me out of my haze. I reached for the switchblade I always kept by the entrance of my tent and shouted into the night, "Who's there?" The figure didn't answer. Instead, it sprinted, full speed, straight at me. The scream that ripped out of its throat wasn't human. It was high-pitched, shrill like something broken. Before I could even react, he hit me and we crashed into the dirt, rolling. And yes, it was a man. His voice gave it away. But he wasn't fighting like a man. He clawed at my face like an animal, not punching, like he was trying to tear me apart. I managed to get the blade between us. I slashed at his hand, not clean, but enough. The moment the steel cut him, he shrieked, scrambled off me and bolted into the woods. This time, though, he didn't just run. He howled. He laughed. He made noises I can't even describe. I just sat there, blood on my face, shaking uncontrollably. I didn't know if it was my blood or his. I thought about hiking out right then, but the pitch-black forest seemed even more dangerous than staying put. So I did the only thing I could. I sat in that tent all night, blade in hand, listening to every single sound, waiting for him to come back. It was the longest night of my life. At first light, I packed up silently and hiked out faster than I've ever hiked before. The second I hit my car, I sped away. I thought about calling the police, but what could I say? That some maniac attacked me in the woods while I was camping illegally. They'd laugh, or worse, blame me for being out there alone. So I didn't. And here's the thing that still makes my head spin. He wasn't camping. He wasn't lost. He wasn't normal. That man found me in pitch darkness and hunted me, and that scream was human but twisted. Something I'll never forget. I haven't gone solo camping since that night, and honestly, I don't think I ever will again.